Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here in Erlengrat. That one up there like that, there. Right, now we can start heading off to the next field. I am actually going to take a quick pause in my recording because I don't want to get too far ahead at this stage, so I may have forgotten which way I'm going when I say hello in a few seconds' time. Well, I have been giving a lot of thought to all of the feedback that I had from last week's videos. I recorded and edited my videos last week sort of right to the wire so that I would be able to get and act on the feedback that you gave me as early as I possibly could. And one of the big things that I had back was you don't like the idea of me using the vehicles from one contract for doing another contract. I hear you loud and clear with that one, so that is something that we will avoid doing, with one exception, and that is, for example, the job that we were doing. Right, we need to go to field 5, don't we, which is all the way up there. That's the one we're after, isn't it? Field 5 harvesting. And that one's going to the grain mill. Right, so it's not going to the one that's flashing there. I've got to go all the way down there. But yeah, I need to get up to there, so I just follow this road straight now until we get to the end. Yeah, like the job that we had last week, we had a really, really slow tractor. I don't think there's anything wrong with just using the tractor to hitch in and drag the load up the road. We could probably get away with that just for simplicity's sake, but other than that, we will stick with vehicles for the contract if we're borrowing them from the farmer. I also suggested that we would have to return our vehicles to our farm overnight once we get our own land. Nobody liked that idea. Everybody said no. You know, farming, and yes, I absolutely agree. I did forget about that. You've got to be a lot more bio-conscious these days with farming. You can't just be wandering all over the place willy-nilly. You've got to keep weeds, diseases, etc. only on that farm. So if we're traveling to and fro, there's more chance of introducing weeds that weren't on that farm, or illnesses, diseases in the crop, so on and so forth. So you would definitely want your vehicles left on the farm overnight if you weren't working. You do like the idea of me knocking off at 8 o'clock in the evening and starting again at 7 like we were in Boulder Canyon, so we're going to keep that one. The time scale, no one has bothered about the time scale, so I will just do as I have done in here. Another thing that... Ooh, I forgot to check. Was the train coming there? That would have been bad. Another thing that has been spoken about, I did say that I'm using keyboard steering for this one because I like to have one series where I'm limiting myself from not using my steering wheel because not everybody has that. Some people said that maybe I could try using an Xbox controller or something like that because, you know, more people would have access to that. And whilst I agree in principle, basically I just suck at using a Xbox controller for a game like this, so that's why I'm not going to do that. I'd rather use the keyboard steering. It's just easier for me to do it like that. So I'm going to be using a keyboard for this one, despite the fact that, yes, the Xbox controller would be a valid option. Now, I'm going to assume that the farmer owns this field as well as that one, and so I'm alright to drive the combine on this field to get my header on, because there's no crop in that field. Autoload. I said that I'd be using Autoload, and I didn't really give much room for argument on that one. However, it has been suggested that maybe I could try to avoid using Autoload this time, because I'm not going to be... I'm not going to be doing much in a way of forestry work. I will be doing a bit, but not a huge amount. And I do actually have techniques that I can avoid using Autoload when it comes to doing forestry work, and I have used those quite a bit. So I'd be happy to do that. And then I've got... well, let's get this one into the crop and get started a minute, shall we? So let's go here, and I've got that going the right way, I've got that going the right way. I'm going to give him a bigger turn angle on here, And wait during unload can be turned off like that, and I will go like that. So he's going to go right in. This vehicle is reserved for contract work. I am using it for contract work. That one's going to go on into there, carry on with that job there. Right. Next, I'll get the tractor up here. That is going to be used now. In theory, I think the Massey is the one that is for... I can't actually remember which contract is which for that, because it's not telling me on here. And I don't remember because it was from last week. But this Massey right here is 7722, or I've got this Valtra N174. Which one's the highest horsepower? They're being mediums. So I've got the 7700 right there, which is 210 horsepower, and the Valtra, is this the T-Series that I'm in? The Valtra, no, this is not the T-Series, is it? It's the Valtra N-Series. So what's the, is that under small tractors then? Valtra N-Series right there, 145. I'm going to use the Valtra for pulling the grain, and I'm going to use the bigger tractor for doing the baler work. I don't know if that's actually the ones that were given to me. It may have been the other way round. Got a feeling it probably was, but this makes the most sense. The bigger tractor on the slightly bigger machinery there, it does actually make more sense to do it that way. So we'll get this one up to the combine up there. So Autoload. It was suggested that I could try and do it without using Autoload, and instead use the like the artisan loaders and things like that, so that they still kind of automatically pick the bales up. But I'm not using the Autoload. So I'm going to give that a go. I'm going to say at the moment, no Autoload. Unless, and I am definitely putting in this one stipulation, although I'm going to try and work it so that I don't need to do it. The one stipulation on this is that if I need to move a number of pallets anywhere, I will use Autoload for moving pallets, because they are such a headache to go and try and move manually. So that is my exception. Logging, moving bale stuff, I will do my bestest to avoid using Autoload. I will be using things like an artisan stacker, things like that, rather than doing it with loader work. But I feel that's, you know, that's a reasonable step to take. So there's my compromise on that, but with the exception of pallets, and pallets only. So I'm hoping that will sort of make you happy. A lot of people didn't really like the idea of the mod that increases the speed of the machines. Now, I've been giving that one quite a bit of thought, and the reason that I'm still leaning towards wanting to use it is for the reason I gave last week, that it gives a bit more variety in gameplay. It does actually speed things up a little bit, and it will give us the variety in gameplay that we could otherwise be lacking. I like this idea. I really like this idea. I like this idea a lot, but there's another mod that a lot of people suggested, and I've got that one, and that is a mod that allows us to purchase second-hand machinery. So I could go in here and I could go and buy a Valtra N-Series like here. We've got factory new, used second-hand, and that gives us a 24,000 euro discount on that one right there. And if we go to something a little bit more expensive, what have we got? See how Alpine work. Let's go to really big here, because then we can like get an idea of what it is. 240,000. What's the discount on this? Used secondhand, minus 48,000 on that one. So you get a good discount, right? You do get a good discount on it, and then the machinery in here. So I want to be looking at stuff like, you know, what are we likely to be starting out with? We're going to be starting out with some fairly small stuff, aren't we? plows, disc harrows, cultivators. Let's go with the seed drill in here. We've got, with the new expansion, we've got the alpine farming. We have got one seed drill option in here. It's got power harrow on the front. It's a direct drill, essentially. That one does everything all at once. Direct seeding. It power harrows it all up. It does a wonderful job. We can get a used second hand, which is... It's not actually working with this mod. And I've also got the working speed bit on there. Alright, well, it's not working with that mod. Let's just ignore that for a second then. Let's try this star one in here. That one works. So we get minus 7,800. Now, if I'm getting that discount, I'm thinking that I use the working speed mod and I reduce that by 3k. Like that. Right? So that's now slower. And that's how we justify getting that cheaper price, yeah? So that's a nice bit of balance. And 3k is going to be, I think, the optimal one on here. Anything more than that, it starts to get too slow, or it'll be too fast if I go the other way. With tractors, I can go and buy a tractor if I want to, and I can buy it secondhand. If I was to buy it secondhand... have a tractor secondhand, it can only pull secondhand or new machinery that is unmodified. If I want to be able to use any machinery in here, and I will want to use it eventually, we want to get to this point where we can do it, so I want to go to the Stara right here, I want to buy this one new, and I have a few tweaks done to it. We can increase the speed of that one by 3k, only 3k, and we can use that one. The tractor pulling it must be a brand new tractor, and it must exceed the stated horsepower by, say, a minimum of 25%, or something along those lines. I don't really know, but that then we could add an extra 3k onto whatever machine it is that we're using. Disc harrows in here, I'll go with that one right there. I would have to exceed that by, say, the 25%, so it's got to be a minimum of 125 horsepower to pull it, and go 3k, I can do the cultivating at 20k instead of 17. So I can add 3k onto the speed. I've got to buy it as factory new, and then I can add it on so long as I've got a tractor that will pull it. The working speed can be altered in a workshop. We do have that benefit. We do have that bonus. We can use it. And that was kind of what I was thinking of as my compromise for the working speed, allowing us to eventually get some things that do go a little bit faster than the standard speeds. Main reason for doing that would be because it would just allow us to get through the gameplay a little bit faster, and I know for a fact that it is possible to modify a lot of machines, do little tweaks and stuff, so you can run them faster than you would otherwise expect them to be able to run. I've seen it done, I've done it myself, so I know that it is actually a thing that could be done. It's not something that is it's not sort of something in the realms of fantasy. It is something that is a reality. It is actually something that we could do and not be too far out of real life. 3k, I'm saying 3k, no more than that. But I like the idea of sort of the balance in it as well, saying that we do have to out-horsepower the minimum requirements of any machine that is going to be making use of this. Anything that we are going to use that is going to sort of get the benefit from this, we do have to out-horsepower that. And not only that, right, let's go to this tractor over here. We need to get some mowing. We need to get our mowing game on. With our other contract that we've got set up. So yeah, you know, we've got these two mods, and I think this could actually be a really cool thing if we can get this working. I thought, oh, that's why the Valtra was for this one, because the Valtra can drive backwards, and I could have put these mowers on the Valtra and had it going backwards round the field instead of forwards to do this contract. And then, you know, they would have been clipped together. It would have been a little bit easier. Right. Which field am I actually doing? For grass. Which one is it? Field 24. Okay. Yeah, we don't have very far to drag those, do we? Okay, so we want to come out of here. We want to turn right, follow that one to the end, and then go up there, across, and then wiggle up through here. Okay, so we'll come out, and we want to turn right on this one. So let me know this week what you think of the whole idea of doing the speed modification under those terms and conditions. Those are my sort of terms and conditions for it. We get a slight speed increase on our machinery when we out horsepower them, and also we have to have new tractor pulling it, so it's not sort of slightly worn out. The engine isn't already starting to lose horsepower compared to what the base factory settings were, etc., etc. You know, there's some provisos in there, and I'm not doing it excessively. I'm only tweaking the speed up a little bit. I'm not going to be, you know, wanting to run around at the silly speeds that I would otherwise do, that I would do in a different series. So that's my ask on there. What do you think? Is that acceptable terms and conditions for using both the buying the used machinery? We have to reduce down the speed. We can use a second-hand tractor, can pull normal new machinery, so long as the horsepower requirements are met. If we buy any used machinery, then we do need to make sure that we are... So, yeah, new... If we buy used machinery, that does have to have the speed reduced on it, right? We have to have the speed reduced on it. Tractor's a little bit different because you can't set the speed on it, but if we have a second-hand tractor, then it is not allowed under any circumstances to pull a new machine that has had the speed tweaked up. It will not be able to do it. We'll just state that it can't cope with it regardless of its onboard horsepower. I think that's kind of a compromise. I'm hoping it's not too complicated and we can sort of stick with that. I don't think there was anything else really. I've addressed the contracts thing, and I've addressed the speed mod and so on and so forth. So I think that's basically all of our bases covered. That was everything that I wanted to do, that I'd previously talked about and mentioned that I might want to do, etc., etc. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? I've made all these different suggestions. Are any of these suggestions to your liking, or are you thinking, really, I need to start smoking something fresh because what I'm smoking at the moment obviously isn't agreeing with me? I'm hoping you don't feel like that. I really am. I'm really hoping you don't feel that way. Right. Lower you down, and you down like that. Control V to get them both to lower down without changing your selected item. I like the new texture for the grass on this map. The new texture for the grass is quite nice. This job's going to be a little bit slower. This is reserved for contract work only. Not allowed to go outside the confines of the fields. Let's go over here. You should be able to just pick that up a bit. Go out there like that and lower it down again, and then just going to go on a line up through here for now, and then I'm thinking if I can do once around the edge, maybe twice around the edge, I could then put the hired help going in this field, and the hired help could carry on with this job while I go off and deal with some of the others. That combine at the moment is currently sitting on 68%, which is pretty good. It's not bad. We should have enough time to be able to get round the field here. But yeah, it was definitely the Valtra that was supposed to be over this side. We've swapped the tractors over. I only did it for the horsepower, but that Valtra would probably have been pretty useful at this point, because the Valtra... Right, I'm going to make sure that I get this lined up right. The Valtra has got the rear drive, so we could have joined these mowers together And we could have made use of that awesome little bit of technology that it can do. Now, I'm going to sort of cut across this one like this here, and then we're going to turn up like that. Oh, that's the edge of the field, right in here. You can go a little bit more on the field, and like you can drift out over the sides a bit like this. You can see that line up through there. That's going to be the edge of the field there. And so if you can get a little bit extra all the way around the edges, it gives you an extra bale or two, and then you can go and sell them and you can make some extra money. And it's the same... Actually, I don't know with this. Like, with the grain contract, you complete the contract, and then any bales you sell after that, any grain you sell after that, you get more money. But with the baling contract, I don't know. I mean, I would assume that that would be the way it would work, the same as any other contract. You know, so you complete part of it, and then we could end up with like an extra bale that we may be able to sell for ourselves and make a little bit extra. Or whether you've got to complete the contract and then sell the bale after the contract is done. That might be what we've got to do. Now, if I've got to do that, that means that I've got to be able to get the bales sold after the contract is done, and that is not quite so easy. That does take a little bit more doing. Right, I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to... Oh, no, I don't want the AI vehicle extension on this job. I want to go with standard AI on this one. So I'm just going to bring that in like that. Let him go to there. And he's going to head off down across there. I do like this new grass texture. I do actually like the new grass texture that we've got here. It does look really nice. Different than the other maps. And I genuinely love this one. This does actually look really cool. I'm pleased with this one. Anyway, let's not worry about you. Combine is stopped and waiting, so let's go and unload that one. That's going to give me almost a trailer load here, so I'm thinking we go and take this first trailer load and we go and sell it, and then we can bring the trailer back and start waiting for the last little bits of grain we're going to be getting. Go on, you start up now. There we go, we're away again. As for combines on our farm, speeding those up, we won't be speeding the combines up to run faster using the speed mods, but if I do buy a second-hand combine, we will run that one slower. So, we're sort of working on these compromises again, so we can get cheaper machinery, but there has to be a penalty for it. And yet, the used machinery thing does have it in need of repair in that when it gets to your farm, but that's not much of a penalty. So that's why I kind of like the idea of running them, making us run them slower, because that feels like it's a bit more of a realistic penalty for something that we're getting at such a significant discount compared to a brand new machine. So that's kind of like that's why I would like to do that. The bit of land that I was looking at, the one closest to town, almost everybody said that that's the one that they want. I don't think anybody actually said that they want me to go as our first piece of land to get the one that I looked at way south of us, about as far away from the town as you could possibly get on this map. There didn't seem to be anybody that liked that idea. They sort of agreed with me. The conclusions I drew as I drove up there in order to go and see it. It's a long way from home. It would be home would be a long way away. It would be a lot of work, right? That would be a ridiculously long, tedious affair to have to go all the way up there. It was the one all the way up over here is that piece there. You like the idea of us building a farm here on this piece, possibly over there, but that one was more expensive. This was the affordable piece in here. A number of you also really like the idea of me not being allowed to build anything on any of the arable fields in town. I did also suggest that maybe we wouldn't even be allowed to buy any of the things. Right, I need to turn here, go along that road, and then head up here because I've got to get to the grain mill. So I need to turn in here. Yeah, I did suggest maybe we wouldn't be allowed to buy any arable fields, but there wasn't any particular love for that idea. But because arable land is in rather short supply in this region, and it's mostly more mountainous, although there is one slight disappointment with this map, is that none of the land is particularly steep. There is, there is some steepness to it, but it's not like the Tyrolean Alps map I did at the end of FS19. That one had much, much steeper land in it, and I did have some feedback with people saying they preferred that one because of the challenge of the much steeper meadows that were within it, and I agree with that. Like, I did like those really steep meadows on that map, and I am a little bit disappointed that this one doesn't have that kind of challenge presented to it. However, I do like the map. I really love the feel of this map. It's absolutely brilliant. We've got this lovely flat land down here, so we've got some nice arable land. We are allowed to buy this land, we'll say that, but we're not allowed to develop it. There is a strict policy in place in this region that the flat level arable land has got a 0 development policy on it. We're not even allowed to put up a small shed on this land. Alright, no development. Which means that we do have to go and buy that grassed over area, one of the meadows, and that is where we would be doing our development. Which means that we've got to try and find the most level spots on it, because development is going to be a little bit more expensive because the land isn't pre-leveled for us. So that means that anything that we do end up buying is going to cost us more money. I'm loving this idea. I'm genuinely loving this idea. 79% transported for Field 5. Let's have a look at you here. Field 5, 87% done at the moment. You're on 12% over there. What have I got? The combine is running. The other tractor, that one's going as well. Let's skip over to that other tractor a minute and just see how it's doing. Combine over here is doing absolutely fine. I'm going to very, very quickly switch that over like that so that it should, in theory, just work on this side of it for a bit. Did I switch it soon enough? Yeah, no worries. Right, that's doing fine. The mowers are doing a great job up through here. We've nearly finished on that, which means that we're going to need to get the mowers back and then get the rake up here and get going with that one. That won't take long to get going either. So we'll have you, and we will take you back to the field now so that we can start loading up with the second load of grain. Now, we've got some of this transported. We're going to be very careful with tipping out the grain so that we can sell some of the excess after the contract is complete. We don't complete the contract. I think, though, that we can just tip it all straight into... Now, where did I need to go? I want to go... No, I don't want to go out that one. I want to go on up here. Just even look at the map a minute. Oh, I can. I can go out to there if I want to, and I can turn back on there. But it would actually be quicker if I went on up. Yeah, all right. I'm lost. Well, unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. So while I sit up here and enjoy this view and a well-earned break, could you please consider taking a look at the links in the description down below? We have Nitrado, who provide gaming servers, who are very, very reliable, and they provide us with a server on our Discord channel. And there is also Fanatical, where you can buy all kinds of different computer games for various different platforms. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.